Hey everyone. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I touched on the video before this one, where I was trying to make the decision about whether or not to get the gastric bypass or the gastric sleeve. Now, if you're not familiar with these two surgeries, the gastric sleeve is where a portion of your stomach is removed and you are left with just like a tube. So it basically is making the actual organ, your stomach, smaller. About, I believe it's a quarter or a third of the size. I can't remember exactly. And the gastric bypass is where the whole stomach is left in the organ, and a small pouch about the size of the egg is created, and your food goes in there, and then your intestines are rerouted to where it basically looks like a Y, which is called why it's called an RNY. I think I could be wrong, but basically it's so that you don't absorb as much fats and things like that. Now, I originally thought that the sleeve would be a better idea because I had seen a lot of YouTubers that had a lot of success with the sleeve, and it seemed like, to me at the time, a less invasive procedure because it wasn't involving anything being rerouted. That kind of freaked me out at first. So, um, basically, what I did was looked at the pros and cons of each surgery. And this is what really kind of helped me make my decision to go with gastric bypass, which is actually happening October 18th in less than 2 weeks. So um, I will be getting the gastric bypass, and this is why I chose this particular procedure. And people need to make the decision that's best for them. I'm not telling you to get gastric bypass. I'm not telling you to get any type of surgery. I'm just sharing my reasoning for why I decided to go specifically with the gastric bypass surgery. So there's a something that happens, and I believe it's called flushing, or dumping. I'm sorry, it's called dumping when you have gastric bypass. If you eat something that you really shouldn't have eaten, it's going to knock you on your butt. So I have very little willpower. I'll be the first to tell you. My willpower is non existent. Hello. So my thought process was, if I had a really bad consequence for not following the diet that I should be following, then I would probably be a lot more successful because I don't like getting sick. I don't like feeling dizzy. For the dumping, you get nauseated, you may vomit, you may get diarrhea. There's really shaking, nausea, sweating. I mean, it makes you feel like complete hell. And I thought that would be good for me because I think if that happened one time, I would be like, nope, no, no, I'm not going through this again. So that to me was a big thumbs up. Another thing that, as I did more research on the gastric bypass to understand how it worked, is yes, you're taking in less nutrients. So you have to do the protein shakes and you have to do the vitamins for the rest of your life. And it's the same thing with the sleeve, I'm sure. But I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, people that have been sleeved or that know more about that procedure than I do, but that eventually with the sleeve, you could stretch it to the point where you would easily get your nutrients and your vitamins and everything that you needed. And not that I want to take vitamins for the rest of my life. I mean, I hate taking the medication that I have to take now, which is a big reason why I'm getting this surgery to begin with. But I do very well with rules. And if I know I have to take my calcium pill this time. I have to take my multivitamin this time. I have to take whatever else I end up taking, vitamin, whatever. I do very well with that. Me personally, I do well with rules. And it works better for me to have to follow a plan. So I thought to myself, okay, you absolutely will not be able to get the amount of nutrients and vitamins and so forth and so on because your intestines are being rerouted. You are not going to absorb those things. And in a weird sort of way, that is a plus to me. That's a good thing. I don't know if that's making sense. I'm hoping that that's making sense. I don't always explain things the best way, but with me knowing that this would be a lifestyle change, that nothing would change that. I would not be able to sufficiently stretch out my stomach enough to be able to get those type of nutrients. So I would forever be on this plan. It works for me. That thought process works for me. So anyways, that was another reason. There was something that I read, and I'm going to butcher this. I know that I am, and I should have looked it up before I did this video so that I could make sure I was giving you guys the exact right information. But from my understanding, there is a hormone called ghrelin, Grelin. I'm butchering it, I know I am. But that is the one that lets you know that you're full, that you are not hungry. So from my understanding with the gastric bypass, that because you still have, the stomach there, even the part that's not being used anymore, that it will produce that hormone. And it may do that with the sleeve as well. I'm not 100% sure. And again, I really wish that I had looked this up. I feel so stupid now. But it just seemed like, okay, that is a more natural way, because there's your natural hormones that are saying, hey, you're full. So that was another reason. And honestly, and this is going to sound vain, and I don't care, because part of this is a vanity project. 75% of it is health. 25% of it is a vanity project. So for that 25%, the overall weight loss for gastric bypass was higher than that of the gastric sleeve. So that to me as well was like awesome. I want to lose a lot more. And I know that, with diet and exercise, you can get to whatever weight and maintain it. This is really just a tool. So I'm not limited based on whatever type of procedure that I decide on. So those were my reasons. I was kind of worried that with the sleeve and with my willpower, which is like this, seriously, I'm not even kidding, that I would not be as successful, that I needed something to just punch me and put me on my butt if I made the wrong decisions food-wise. And I still worry about that. I worry that, that the gastric bypass, I won't get the dumping syndrome, which I'm pretty sure that I will because it's very, very common. But I'm hoping that this works. And of course I'm hoping that it works. But like, I'm really at that point in my life where it's like, okay, this has become a drastic decision. So with that in mind, let's go into why I decided to have gastric bypass surgery. So it's the same question, but it's a different part of the equation. I'm going to share some of my stats with you. I'm 5'3". I am turning 40 this Saturday, October 7th. Happy birthday to me. And I weighed at my highest 242. And right now, I was actually weighed yesterday when I went to do my pre-op testing, and I weighed 220 pounds. So I have lost 22 pounds on the pre-op diet. I don't recall exactly what my BMI is, but I know that I fall in the morbidly obese category, or I did at 242. I don't think that I've looked at that since I've gotten down to 220. So I have high blood pressure, and the medication for that makes me have to pee constantly. If you take high blood pressure medication, you're probably feeling me right now, because it has is it Lasix that are in it that draw the water out of you and make you have to pee? It's HCTZ, losartan with HCTZ. So my hope is when I drop down to a reasonable weight that the blood pressure medication is something that I can get off of. That sounds like a very silly thing, but here's my deal. With the type of work that I do, I can't just stop and go pee every 10 minutes because I'm in a car. I am a courier. So seriously, in my area, I know where all the bathrooms are. I know which gas stations have the best bathrooms. And that's not just because of the pee. We'll get into the other things. And there are times where I am not anywhere near a bathroom because some of the places that I go are very rural. And that's miserable. And so there are times where I won't take my blood pressure medication until I get home from work. And unfortunately, that means that I'm going to be up peeing all night. It's an inconvenience. It's a silly inconvenience, sure, but it is an inconvenience. I have sleep apnea, and I'm almost positive that that's weight related. I have severe sleep apnea, actually. And I have to use a CPAP machine, which I know I said this in my other video, but I hate that thing. I'm one of those people that if I feel anything on my face, like an itch or something like that, I can't ignore it and just not look. I'm scratching now just thinking about it. So I'll put my mask on, and I use the full face mask, not the nasal pillows, because apparently I sleep with my mouth open. So they said that it would be a better idea for me to have the full face mask. And as soon as I put it on, I feel itching. And then I feel like it's pressed too hard up against my nose. When I wake up in the morning, I have a red mark. If you've ever seen a video of mine with me having red marks right here, it's from that mask. But if I don't put it on that tight, then it leaks. I hate everything about it. I really do. So I want off that CPAP machine. I'm hoping when I lose weight that the CPAP machine will be gone. Y'all cross your fingers for me because I really, really don't like it. So high blood pressure, the CPAP machine. I also have fibromyalgia. It's really very well controlled right now, but it's not, of course, 100% controlled. And I know that losing weight will help with that because the more you exercise, the more it helps your fibromyalgia because it helps, build healthy muscles and things like that. My job is extremely physical. I'm, lifting heavy things, carrying them into buildings. I'm, loading up my vehicle. I load my vehicle. Nobody does that for me. I have a very, very physical job, and I love my job. Don't get me wrong. It's great. And it's driving me crazy because I sprained my ankle and cracked a bone in my ankle, and I'm wearing an ortho boot, so I can't work. It's driving me insane. But on top of that, me and my children are very active. You know, we're constantly on the go and doing stuff, but it seems like I can't lose weight and keep it off. I can lose 20 pounds. I've been everywhere between 242 and 200 in the past 5 years. And I go up and I go down and I go up and I go down. So this will be a tool to help me not just take off the weight, but keep it off. And it will force me to eat healthy. Like I said, we have a very active lifestyle. Not that you can tell by looking at me. You're going to have to trust me on that one. But a lot of nights, I'm tired by the time we get home. You know, maybe I've had to run the kids here or there, or, you know, I worked a little bit later or just whatever. And I'm tired. And I don't want to cook a big dinner. And, you know, my kids can make themselves something real quick, you know, if they just want something to nibble on. And I'll grab a bag of chips and just eat those till I fill myself up because I'm too tired and too... These are all excuses, granted, but I don't necessarily eat healthy because I have a choice not to. If I don't have a choice in the matter, then I'm going to make myself make better decisions, if that makes sense. So, you know, these are all my reasons why I chose gastric bypass surgery and why I chose gastric bypass surgery, if that makes sense. It's the same question, but answered for two different specific reasons. So if you would like to leave a comment down below, let me know, have you had surgery? Are you considering surgery? What did you choose? Why did you choose it? How is it working for you? Or, you know, if you haven't had your surgery yet, and just, you know, tell me, why did you choose what you chose? And I know that the two that I discussed, what was this? Anyways, the two that I discussed are not the only surgeries out there. As far as I know, they're the most common in the weight loss surgery community. There are other options, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know there's the balloon, there's that ring that gets refilled. I can't think of the name of it. There's also some type of like electronic implant that is supposed to do something. I wish that I could remember what that's called, but I don't think that one is actually being done yet. So there are other options, and of course, you know, hey, if diet and exercise by itself work with you without any extra tools, awesome, high five. I'm really, really glad for you that that's the case, and I will never knock you for how you are able... Here I go again. I will never knock you for the choices that you have made for your health. So I hope that you would give me the same respect in the comments below. But I would love to hear about your journey. So with that said, have a good day, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be uploading tomorrow or not, but anyways, have a good weekend. Bye.